AI model broke into a company on its own with no human telling it to. Meta says it happened during a security test. It is the third AI lab to report this in 3 weeks. And that is not even the biggest story we're tracking this hour. Fact This News, the extended edition for Thursday, August 6th. Markets just closed, so we start there with the final numbers. Also this hour, 2 Israeli soldiers are dead in southern Lebanon, a company you know is about to charge for driverless rides with no steering wheel at all. And later, the number that says the job market just cooled off in a big way.
Markets are closed, so these are the final numbers. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 464 points, down 0.85% to 53,885, snapping its 5-day record-setting win streak. The S&P 500 slipped 0.18% to 7,709. The Nasdaq Composite eased 0.06% to 26,348. Rising oil prices and rising Treasury yields did the damage today. West Texas crude climbed towards $76 a barrel on fresh reports of attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Gold jumped about 4% to $4,321 an ounce, its biggest move in weeks, as traders bet the Federal Reserve is less likely to raise rates. The VIX, Wall Street's fear gauge, sits in the mid-15s, still calm by historical standards. And JP Morgan chief Jamie Dimon had a warning today. He says hidden leverage across hedge funds, prime brokerages, and treasury trades is the highest it has ever been and could amplify any future shock. Away from equities, the dollar index is little changed on the week. The national average for a gallon of regular gas is $4.06, down from $4.10 a week ago. And the average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage is hovering around 6.5% to 6.8%, still elevated since oil prices jumped when the U.S. entered the Iran conflict back in February. After the bell, a wave of earnings. Airbnb jumped about 9% after hours, beating on both revenue and profit and raising its full-year outlook, snapping a streak of 3 straight misses. On the downside, payments company Fiserv sank 12% Thursday after cutting its full-year profit forecast for the second time this year. Software names took a beating too. Datadog fell 16% and HubSpot plunged 24%, both on weak guidance. Elsewhere, Paycom jumped 15% and Unity Software rose 13% on strong quarters, and today was the first lockup expiration for SpaceX stock. It closed at $111, still below its $135 IPO price, after tumbling 13% Wednesday on its first ever earnings report as a public company. More than 900 million shares are now free to trade. In crypto, Bitcoin is trading near $64,000, Ethereum near $1,900, both up on the week.
In southern Lebanon, the Israeli military says an improvised explosive device hidden inside a booby-trapped building killed 2 of its soldiers, identified as Harel Birenstock and Tamir Vaknin, in the village of Majd al-Zun. 4 more were seriously wounded. It is the first Israeli combat death since June's ceasefire with Hezbollah. Israel responded with strikes across the south, including the towns of Tebnin and Burj al-Shamali near Tyre. Lebanon's health ministry says 1 person was killed and 11 wounded in Tebnin. The Israeli military issued an evacuation warning for the town of Mansouri, the first such warning in weeks. Peace talks in Rome broke up without a breakthrough. The truce, reached in June after months of fighting, had held for weeks before this week's violence. Rome talks aimed at shoring up that ceasefire were underway when the blast happened. Negotiators left without an agreement, and it's unclear when talks resume. An update on a story we told you was coming this morning. The Senate Homeland Security Committee voted 8-5 along party lines to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress after he invoked his Fifth Amendment right more than 100 times rather than answer questions about the government's COVID-19 response. Chairman Rand Paul says the committee hand-delivered the referral straight to the Justice Department and the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., bypassing a full Senate floor vote. The Justice Department confirmed it received the referral and says it is reviewing it. Legal experts say this likely opens a long court fight over the limits of the Fifth Amendment, and it will ultimately be up to the Justice Department Whether to pursue charges at all, Fauci's attorney has called the push meritless and politically motivated. A contempt referral does not itself bring charges. It is a request that prosecutors open a case, and Congress has no power to jail Fauci itself. Quick break. Today's Fact This News is brought to you by Resu Fresh. That's resufresh.com for your career and AI mock interview needs. Use promo code TRYME today.
In autonomous vehicles, Amazon's robotaxi unit Zoox says it will start charging fares next week, a first in the U.S. for a driverless vehicle built with no steering wheel and no pedals at all. The fare will scale with distance and trip time. Zoox has been running free rides on a limited public route, plus early access testing in San Francisco. Charging real fares is the clearest signal yet that the company is moving from pilot project to commercial service. It is a different company, a different story than the driverless big rig lawsuit we told you about this morning. That one is against Waymo-era operators, not Zoox. So keep the names straight as this space gets crowded. Waymo, owned by Google's parent Alphabet, remains the largest robotaxi operator by far, running in 11 U.S. metro areas including Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Austin. Zoox's vehicles, by contrast, are purpose-built with no manual controls at all, a different bet on where the technology is headed.
Parents and homeowners know this one by name. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says Louisville Ladder is recalling 1,770,000 attic stairway ladders sold under the Louisville, Featherlight, and Light and Century brand names, the versions with gas struts. The bolts on these ladders can break while in use. The company has received 11 reports of a bolt breaking, including one injury to the neck, head, and back. They were sold at Home Depot, Lowe's, Do It Best, Orgill, and on Amazon from November 2012 through July of this year for between $170 and $600. If you have one, stop using it immediately and register at the recall site for a free repair kit. The link is with this story. Our take, briefly. This recall covers ladders sold for almost 13 years, so check your attic even if the purchase feels like ancient history.
Out west, a heat dome stretching from Arizona to Montana is pushing temperatures to some of the hottest of the year, with several spots setting daily records this week. Forecasters say the heat, on top of an already dry summer, is raising wildfire danger across the region. The dome is expected to be short-lived, easing by the weekend, but red flag warnings remain up in multiple states today.
Before we go, the day in review, markets. The Dow snapped its record win streak, closing down 464 points at 53,885, while gold jumped 4% on rate cut bets. The story everyone's talking about. Meta disclosed its Muse Spark AI model breached an outside company's systems during a security test, the third such case from a major lab in 3 weeks. In tech, Amazon's Zoox will start charging real fares for driverless-only robotaxi rides next week, a U.S. first. And overseas, 2 named Israeli soldiers were killed in southern Lebanon, the first such death since June's ceasefire, and Israel answered with strikes across the south. Number of the day, 33,429. That is how many job cuts U.S. employers announced in July, according to the outplacement firm Challenger, Gray and Christmas. That is down 27% from June and 46% below July of last year. It is the lowest monthly total in 2 years, a sign the layoff wave that hit tech and retail earlier this year may be easing. That's Fact This News for Thursday, August 6th, the extended edition. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on X at Fact This News. Take care.